Welcome, students. In the previous part, we learned the basics of decision making process, and now in part 2, we are going to explore how managers actually make decisions in real world organizations. You will notice that in practice, managers don't always follow a perfect step by step model, but in real life is far more complex, and that's what we are going to discuss in today's lecture. There are different decision making models. We discuss each one by one. Number one is the rational decision making model. Rational decision making assumes that managers have a complete information and they make logical choices and always act in organization's best interest. Imagine a bank choosing between two investment options. It gathers all the data, calculates all the risk and returns, and then selects the best one. While this model is ideal in reality, managers rarely have access to complete information. Think about how unpredictable markets can be. That's why the rational model is more of a guideline than a real practice. The second model is bounded rationality. This concept, introduced by Herbert Simon, suggests that managers operate within limits and they don't have the perfect information, unlimited time, or unlimited mental capacity. Instead, this satisfies, meaning they choose an option that is good enough rather than perfect one. For example, when a university is hiring a new faculty, it may not find the perfect candidate who fits every requirement. Instead, it selects a candidate who fulfills most of the criteria. That is the concept of bounded rationality in action. And the third condition of decision making is intuitive decision making. Sometimes managers don't even go through a logical process. Instead, they rely on intuition decisions based on their experiences, feelings, or accumulated judgments. A marketing manager might decide to launch a campaign simply because he has a gut feeling that the market is ready for it. You have probably done the same in your own life. Maybe you decided to join a certain university because it felt right. That is intuition at work. So let me ask you, have you ever made a decision based on intuition? Did it turn out to be right and wrong? So decision making conditions are three: bounded rationality, rationality, and intuitive decision making. Now coming to the next topic, which is about decision making error and biases. All managers, like all humans, are subject to cognitive biases that influence their decisions. So, here in this book, there are several biases are mentioned. We discuss each one by one. Number one bias in the book is discussed is overconfidence bias. Managers sometimes thinks they know more than they actually do, or they hold overly positive views about themselves and their decisions. For example, a CEO may overestimate their knowledge about market trend or launch a new product without proper research, only to see it fail. So, overconfidence may lead to poor decisions because managers rely on assumptions instead of facts. Second is immediate gratification bias. Some managers prefer decisions that give quick payoff while avoiding those that require patience or involve long term benefits. For example, a manager chooses to cut training budget to save money instantly, ignoring the long term benefit of skilled employees. So it makes managers short sighted, prioritizing today's reward over tomorrow's growth. The next is anchoring effect or anchoring bias. This happens when managers fixate on the first piece of information they receive and fail to adjust for the later or more accurate data. For example, if the first sale forecast predict 20% growth, manager may keep planning around that number even when updated forecast shows only 5% growth. So initial impression hold too much weight in anchoring bias, leading to biased decision making. So a manager must need to avoid this anchoring effect. Next bias is selective perception bias. Managers interpret events based on their own personal interest, own background, and experiences, which causes them to see only what they want to see. For example, a marketing manager who believes TV ads are most effective way may ignore data showing that social media ads are actually more successful. So this bias limits objectivity and narrows problem solving options. Fifth bias is confirmation bias. This occurs when managers actively seek out information that confirms their previous choices and ignore data that challenges them. For example, if a manager decides to buy a software from a vendor A, they will only look for positive reviews of vendor A and dismisses negative feedback. It prevents manager from making balanced and well-informed decisions. Number 6 bias is framing bias. How a problem or decision is framed or presented influences choices. Manager may highlight some aspects while ignoring others, which distorts perception. Again, an investment option described as having a 90% survival rate sounds more attractive than other described as having a 10% failure rate. So even though both mean the same thing, same meaning, manager may be misled by the wording instead of actual facts. Next is availability bias. Manager tend to base decisions on information that is most recent or vivid in memory rather than all the relevant data. For example, after hearing about a plane crash on the news, a manager may avoid air traveling, even though statistically it is a safer one than road travel. So, this bias skews judgment because dramatic events are remembered more than routine data. Next bias is representation bias. This happens when managers compare situations to stereotypes or assume patterns exist when they don't. For example, a hiring manager assumes a candidate from a prestigious university will automatically be a top performer, even though performance depends on many factors. So, this leads to a stereotyping and false assumptions. Manager also need to avoid this. The next bias is randomness bias. Manager try to seek patterns in random events or believe they can predict outcomes that are purely a matter of chance. For example, a manager believes that because sales dropped 3 Fridays in a row, it will happen next Friday too, even though it's just a coincidence. So, this bias creates false patterns, leading to superstitious or irrational decisions. Number 10th bias is sunk cost error. Managers keep investing in decisions because of past cost of time, money, or effort, even when future returns don't justify it. For example, a company continues funding a failure project just because they have already spent billions on it. So instead of focusing on future potentials, managers get trapped by past investments. Next bias is self-serving bias. Manager tend to take credit for success but blame external factors for failure. If sales increases, a manager say it was because of my excellent strategy. But if sales drop, they blame the economy or a lazy employees. So this bias prevents learning from mistakes and encourages arrogance. And the last bias is hindsight bias. After an event happens, manager believe that they knew it all along and could have predicted it. For example, after a company goes bankrupt, managers claim they saw it coming, although they never took preventive actions before. Prevents genuine reflection on past mistakes. So, all these 12 biases and errors all show how human judgment can go wrong. Good managers must be aware of these biases and actively challenge their assumptions to make better decisions. So, the key is don't let shortcuts in thinking, because blind spots in decision making, these biases show how decisions can go wrong if managers are not careful. The next topic is group decision making. Many managerial decisions are not made individually but in the form of groups. So, group decision making has advantages and disadvantages as well. Firstly, we discuss some advantages. Group bring diverse perspectives, generate more alternatives, and improve acceptance of the final decisions. Whereas the disadvantages, group decisions take more time. There is always the risk of group thinking, where people agree just to maintain harmony rather than challenge the bad ideas. For example, in a university setting, a curriculum review are usually made by committees. While the group input is valuable, it can also slow down the process as well. So, if we summarize today's lecture, we explored how managers make decisions through rational, boundary rationality model and intuitive approaches. And we also learned about common biases that must be avoided. We also looked at the advantages and disadvantages of group decision making. The key takeaway in this decision making is both art and science. Good managers are not those who never make mistakes, but those who are aware of their biases, use appropriate decision making models, and learn from their past experiences. So, always remember, every decision you make, big or small, shapes the future of your organization. So, think wisely, act responsibly, and always evaluate your outcomes. Thank you for joining me in this chapter. In next session, we will move to our next chapter and discuss about different types of plannings and goals. That is all about today's lecture. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.